Hey gamers, I am CyberSnack7. Hope we're all well, guys. Back again, guys. Bit of a late video. Had a hectic couple of days at work, to be honest. So I thought I'd leave it till the middle of the week to put the video up. All about Saturday. If you don't know what happened, me and the main man, Mr. Deloro, took off down to Wolverhampton racecourse this weekend, or the weekend just gone, to go to this year's revival event. And it was a great day all round, to be honest. As I say, Daz picked me up around 8:30 in the morning, and then we headed off to Wolverhampton. And with a one missed turn, we eventually got there around 9 o'clock, and then we queued up for about 9:20, and we was allowed in early, around 20 to 10, so it weren't too bad at all. But nobody in the crowd that we recognised, apart from one security guy. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. I was going to say, how you doing? But as if he's ever going to watch this video anyway. But he's still a sound guy, and I see him at every event I go to. So, yeah, I bumped into him again. But no YouTubers in the crowd. So we proceeded in. And as we was at the main entrance, Eagle Eyes here spotted a game stall with import games on, and that was me, bought straight away. So went straight over to the main stall as soon as we got to the entrance, and it wasn't as good as I intended it would be. There was one import game, and that was Super Mario 64 on the Japanese version, and it was in pretty poor condition, to be honest. But apart from that, there weren't a hell of a lot else on that stall. So we carried on in, and at this point, I seen Dazzy's face, and there was a little bit of disappointment on it, because when he walked in, the room that you start off in isn't exactly that big. Now, I'd been there last year, so I knew exactly what was coming, but Daz didn't. So there was kind of a little bit of disappointment on his face, and I was just sniggering under my breath, to be honest, because I knew he thought that that was it, as far as I'm concerned. So I just played along, and I was walking around thinking, oh, you know, it ain't very big, is it, mate? It's not where I expected it to be. But we never let things put us down. So we, as I say, we walked around. You had your usual consoles, classic consoles, mini arcades, and your retro stores, which was most important. Now, this one guy who had a stall, and the stall name, I had his card, obviously, was Sore Thumbs Retro Games. Now, he was easily the best stall at the event this year. One of his stalls, one side, was just all retro PAL and loose carts, and then the opposite side, which favoured us, me and Daz, no end, was his import stall, which we lacked last year, to be honest. I think we had a lot of stalls, but there was only bits and drabs of import items, where this year this guy had a whole selection of import games spreading from Saturn, N64, Famicom, you know, he had it. We had a real good selection, so I spotted immediately two games that I wanted, and I was going to get them, but I held back, because I thought to myself, if I'm going to buy those two games, I'm going to go further on in, and I'm going to see something worthy of my money instead of these, even though I really wanted those two games. But Daz didn't hold back. He dived straight in, found three items, stuck them right behind the counter, and said, I'll be back for them later. So he'd spent a pretty penny within about 15 minutes of being in there. So anyway, proceeded to go through, and then it hit Daz, and realised then there was another hall round the corner, to his delight. So he was well happy with that. And as I say, more arcades, pinball machines, and then it was surrounded by a lot more stalls. Now, what we did, we decided to go around the stalls first, and see what was available before I went back, because I was going to go and get them two games, whether I wanted them or not. I needed them games. But went round, and nothing really caught my eye apart from one game. There's one stall with some nice items on there, but they was way overpriced, if you ask me. And I was after Sin and Punishment. I seen there it was a pristine copy for the N64 Japanese version, of course. and he wanted £50 for it, and I said, look, 35, 40 max all day long, but you're never going to get £50 for this. And he wouldn't budge, so I said, fair enough, leave it on your shelf, and he stayed there all day long. So that just goes to show it was overpriced. But you know, as I say, there's a fair selection of games there. Nothing stuck out majorly, but apart from the import stall, which me and Dad's favoured, as I say, anyway. So I went back and I picked up the 2 games which I will be showing later on, and there was a third game there which I was umming and ahhing about, a game I've never really heard of, but the artwork was great on it, and it didn't look too bad on the back, but obviously I didn't know much about this game, so I thought, shall I take a punt on it, shall I not? But I left it, and we went back then into the main hall, had another look around, bumped into the first couple of YouTubers, which were the Renegade Master himself, Shock16, and Adam Interghost. They were there last year, and we had a good chat with them. There was a friend of theirs there. Sorry, I didn't know your name, mate. I don't know if you've got a YouTube channel. If he has, you guys let me know, and then check his channel out. But we had a good chin wag with those guys. Then they disappeared, and we didn't see them then for the rest of the day. They got up to whatever they get up to. I ain't going into too much detail, but as I say, like, we carried on, and then we decided it's time for a beer, as you do, about 11:30. Go for a beer breakfast. Can't argue with that. But sitting there, and then we had this chap come up to us who recognised us both. He didn't have a channel of his own, but he was a local lad, and he lived quite close to where my parents live, Erdington Way. And he was just talking about, like, our channels and what he's been collecting, and he's well into his Master System, and he picked a couple of good games up at the show itself, and he was thinking about getting into doing his own channel. So me and Dad, as you do, we're just trying to encourage him to start up his channel, get himself up and into the community, because he'd be welcome with open arms, as always. But this guy's name was Steve. I hope I got it right, mate. But if you're watching, Steve, nice to meet you, mate. Really good company. Bumped into you a couple of times. Had a real good couple of chats, to be honest. So get your ass on YouTube, mate. Get a channel up and running, and I'll certainly be watching, and no doubt Daz will too, mate. But great to meet you. And then after the beer breakfast, we went back into the main hall, and we decided to have a go at the pinball machines, because the arcades, the selection this year weren't nowhere near as good as the previous year. So we decided to stick to the pinballs and had a good go on the pinballs. So I had a go at the pinball machines, and then we walked around again, and then bumped into another YouTuber, which was Dave, I'm a Gamer Geek, and he was with one of his friends as well. So we had a good chin wag with him, as you do, blah blah blah, and he was sound as a pound. He was getting some t-shirt autographed by some long-haired rock star. I think he's got to be one of the guys who made Quake or Doom, or worked on them at least. So because I've seen him walking around a few times, somebody's going to tell me it was blah blah blah, but I'm not too sure who the guy was. Just looked like a rock star to me. But anyway, as I say, we've seen Dave, said hellos and that. We've seen him a couple of times, and then, you know, the day was clocking on, and it really did go quick, considering it just flew. As you say, when you're enjoying your time and you're enjoying the day, it flies. So as I say, we had another walk around, and then had something to eat, as you do, and then we thought, right, we'll have a final walk around, and see if we really want to pick anything else up, and then we'll make tracks. Now, I went in there, and we was walking around, and I did notice something that I was really interested in. There was this one stall that was selling, like, prints of, like, game characters and things like that. And I did see one I was interested in, but I was umming and ahhing as per usual. I didn't know what to do about it. But as we were leaving, I've seen another picture on this stall, which immediately thought, that has to be mine. I have to have that picture, because it looked really, really great in my room once my room's set up and done properly. So I snagged that. I got a good deal for it. Got 5 knocked off it, and then I proceeded to go back over to the import store and pick up that game that I was again umming and ahhing about and thinking, shall I get this game, shall I not? And for a tenner, I picked it up. I thought, I'm going to give this a punt, see if it's okay. And it was in great condition, nice artwork, so I picked that up as well. So, you know, I ended up with 3 games. I ended up with a nice picture. And as you do, or as I do, every event, I always buy a new hat. And as you can see, I do have this hat, which, if I get close up, you can see the entire guys from Mario to Bowser, Donkey Kong, you know, you name it, they're on there. So, a brand new hat for a brand new event. But, you know what I'm like. I walked around with about 5 hats hanging off me in Manchester. So, as you do, I walk round and what do I spot? I spot another hat. But I'm going to leave it there, guys, because the pickups are coming in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. I am SoberSnake7. Keep playing. Keep watching. All the best.